What are we gonna be wearing? Yo, I'm a Liverpool MC. You can't test me. Big up the girls inside the party. Let's get down to crazy Jimmy. Big up myself and known as Alfie, the one and only, the Turkish MC.
Always love the clothes of Jimmy.
British, I'm your what I wanna be. Jimmy Star, new celebrity.
We'll take you out.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the Jimmy Star Show with Ron Russell, bringing you the good times in music, fashion, pop culture, and entertainment. We got a fun show for you today. We got lots of stuff to talk about because we've had a very busy week. And before we get started, let's say hi to everybody, starting off with my cool, outrageous man about town, Mr. Ron Russell.
There's not much. Oh my God, there's not much left of me. I don't know what you're going to get out of me today, but we'll give it a shot, baby.
Then we got the man behind the boards, Mr. Chad Murphy.
Loving the set. It's like story time with Ron and Jim.
No, I feel like it's in 1944 when President Roosevelt used to do the fireside lecture speeches.
Right.
And he'd sit there like an old crumb bun that he was, and he'd tell America how wonderful it was and how great it's going to be. Kind of like Donald Trump, you know.
Okay.
But anyway, look what happened with the House. Wow.
I like it. Looks good.
Then we've got
not my house, Washington.
Oh.
Democratic.
Then we have tons of people in the chat room. What's up, chat room? We have Hannah Clive from England, B. Claudia from the Germany, Illy from Estonia, Dave Hughes from the UK, who says he's tired and he's getting ready to DJ the biggest event of his life on Sunday, DJing to 3,000 people. Congratulations to you, Dave. And I don't know who else because it's going by fast. But what's up, everybody? We got a fun show for you guys today. We have two very talented actors and actresses coming on, Misha Crosby and Laurene Landon. Before that happens, we are going to shoot the shit, I guess. So Ron's going to tell you something. I don't know. What do you want to tell him about? Don't forget, we went to that great movie.
First off, I just want to say that aging is no fucking, fun ride. I mean, aging really blows. I am exhausted, totally exhausted, because we have had, we went to the Yap Yap party with our dog.
Palm Springs,
and then we ran,
Yappy Hour.
And then Yappy Hour, and then we ran from that event to, to
L.A.
To Los Angeles to do what?
We went to go see the premiere of Accelerator.
Oh, we went to see Accelerator, which I loved, by the way. It's a wonderful movie, and I suggest that everybody go see it. It's really funny and campy and wild and good. Very reminiscent of the 1960 Bond movies. But I enjoyed it.
And it stars Sean Young.
Well, John James was there, who we know, and it was so sweet to see John James again. He was from Dynasty. If you all remember the gorgeous hunk from Dynasty, well, he's still a gorgeous
And the
hunk.
Colbys.
And the Colbys. Now he's just a little older. And his lovely daughter, Laura, who is in the film. She's a beautiful, tall girl who won the Model Award.
She won America's Next Top Model season, I don't know which one.
This is why I have no brain.
2 years ago.
This is why I have no brain. Because I start a sentence and he completes it. That's what marriage is all about. I'm sure people out there know that. You start to say something, your husband continues, or the wife continues, like your brain did. But anyway.
That's not true, though. Because you said the model contest, which means nothing.
But I was going to go into the title, but you jump-started me again. I'm going to beat you with the microphone in 2 minutes, and then I'm going to commit suicide on this. Oh, God, I shouldn't even say that. But I'm going to have a nervous breakdown on the set. But anyway, then it was so nice meeting Sean Young. She's a lovely girl, very sweet, very nice. We hit it off. We made friends. She said when she comes to Palm Springs, she's going to give us a call. So that'll be fun having her at the house. Maybe on the show. You never know. Then from there, where did we go? I'm exhausted.
Then we drove home and got home at 2 in the morning.
Right. And then we had to get up to go to my shoot. No, Gay Pride was Sunday. So
you're way too fast. We went to dinner.
With
Liz
Friday
on Friday night.
Liz Lauren threw a dinner party at Oscar's nightclub in Palm Springs for Marcy Weiner. Marcy Weiner was the #1 interviewer of the 1950s of all the great legends of Hollywood, and she's a friend of mine. And she also writes for the Hollywood Reporter. So we had a lovely, lovely dinner there, and we saw a show, and then we left there, went home, and collapsed, and then what?
And then... Saturday we thought it was Sunday, and we went to the gay pride. We went to Gay Pride.
We went to Gay Pride on Saturday, and did that stuff. And then Saturday night, where'd we go?
Saturday night we went to bed because we had to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning
Right.
to go to L.A.
See, I have no memory. Anyway, we got in fast because it was Sunday. We got to L.A. in an hour 40 minutes, which usually takes longer than that. It's 100 miles to Los Angeles from Palm Springs. So we got there, and we were early, and we met the cast. It was very nice. I went into wardrobe, hair and makeup, got ready. I was dressed as a minister, but we're not allowed to talk about the movie, so I can't tell you anything about it until they give us the okay. Why? I have no idea, but that's how they do things today. Years ago, you did a movie. Before you even did it, you did what was called pre-publicity. Now they keep everything a secret. Maybe it's because, like, the cops are chasing them because the back is a mafia or something. I don't know. But anyway, we're not supposed to say anything.
But in the meantime, you were on set with some fabulously talented, fun people.
Yes, and I was really exhausted because I worked about 12 hours standing up as the minister, going over the same lines over and over again, and I couldn't remember them because I got so bored with it. I went into a coma. Sort of like, I'm not interested in doing this, I don't want to be here, which is exactly what I was. But being an actor, I had to act and pretend that I was enjoying it and doing it correctly, but I wasn't doing it correctly. My acting was good, but I did forget the lines. Hey, listen, I might go on Adderall or something. I have to go see somebody about my memory not being as sharp as it was. But I'm sure everyone out there that's my age has a similar problem. But the film is going to be a good film. Sadie Katz, who's the star, is a fabulous actress. As I wrote,
and we've had her on the show a bunch of times. Everybody knows her and loves her.
As I wrote on Facebook, there's a scene which I can't discuss where Sadie gets a jolt, or let's say a shocking piece of news, and her performance was incredible. She began to shake. Her body was shimmering, and her face, it was just I started to almost cry because I was standing right there as the minister, and I just thought it was brilliant what she did. It was a very nice experience, except we ran long, and we had to shoot the next day the office scene. And that's where I'm in, and it's an important scene. So Jimmy and I drove back to Palm Springs, got home at like some ungodly hour, had another
home at 10, went to bed.
Another 1 or 2 hours sleep. And then the next day drove in. It took us 4.5 hours to get to L.A. 6 automobile accidents on Route 10. Fog that was so thick you couldn't see the car in front of you. And that bitch in the car, that slut tramp whore, I hate her. What does she call that machine in our car, that Surrey bitch?
Oh, Siri.
Siri, she's such a piece of work. She routed us all the way around the L.A. basin and then brought us back down into 10 where we were originally on, to get caught in more traffic to get off at downtown L.A. So it was a nightmare. The studio's calling, where are you? I wanted to say, fuck you, I don't care where I am. Oops, I'm not supposed to say that. But anyway, you're stressed in the car. You don't need more stress from people waiting for you. Anyway, I got there 15 minutes late, which was no big deal, because the star didn't get there till 20 minutes after me. I ran into makeup, and I screamed, quick, beat my face, hair, quick, slick it back, wardrobe, quick, dress me up, and I was on the set. And we began to film. But I was out of my mind with exhaustion. I was falling asleep because while they were setting up and changing lighting and camera, I was sitting at the desk absolutely falling asleep. So at one point I went and sat in a chair on a break, and one of the crew came over and said, "Sir, are you okay?" I said, "What, I look like I died?" Because I'm old. I was sleeping. I said, "No, I'm sleeping." I said, "What'd you think? I had a stroke and dropped dead?" So they treated me very nicely on the set with a lot of patience, and like I was Betty White maybe or something. I guess they don't really have people my age in film anymore, but we're coming back and we will be in film. We then, whatever happened after that, I went into a coma. I slept the whole trip.
Then we just hung out in the trailers.
Oh, yeah, we hung out.
Ron had his own trailer, Chad.
Wow.
Yeah. With my name on the door. Wasn't that cute?
Big star.
What, a trailer? You had to see the size of it. It was the size of a closet with a toilet.
I know. Well, it was like a big long trailer with eight little rooms in it.
Yeah, I mean, I had a sofa that you could fit 2 people on, and a toilet right next to it. So it was good. If you had to go, you could just slide over. You wouldn't even have to stand up. But the trailer was tiny and cute. Sadie Katz, the star, she had a bigger trailer with a bigger sofa, but her toilet bowl was also next to her sofa.
Hers was only bigger because the two of them opened up their doors in between and made a bigger one.
They made the two.
So Sadie Katz was there, you guys, and we got to meet Augie Duke, who's one of my favorite actresses. I was so excited to meet her. And one of the male leads is Gianni Capaldi, who is a great actor who's got great credits, and he was in it. And Tiffany Fest, who was in our Around the Table with Ron and Jibby, our first episode. So there was really like a lot of really cool people involved in the film, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and I can't wait to go to the wrap party in a couple weeks.
Yeah, and you shouldn't judge a book by its cover, because when I first met Johnny and he came on the set, I didn't care for him much. I thought he was very, very uppity. Very much he's the star, and he wasn't very nice. And I said to Jimmy, this one's got to go. But what am I going to do? I got to work with him, so I got to, be smiley and nice. Well, by the end of the shoot, I went over to him and I hugged him, and I said, you are by far one of the most generous actors I have ever worked with. He was the most loving, sweet, tender man. He cared for me when I screwed up a line. He came over and he was just gentle about it. He was absolutely the best professional of all. So you see, you can't judge somebody. I guess when he comes new on a set, he was maybe tired or he, for whatever.
I think he might have just flown in from England, too.
Right. So you can't right away make opinions about people. Give people a chance. Give them a shot. Let's see what they're all about. Then make your decision. But I love the guy. I think he's a great actor. I'd love to work with him again. He's a really terrific person. Nice human being.
It's going to be fun. I can't wait for the movie to come up. And
by the way, he's coming on our show.
And pretty soon we're going to be going to see the red carpet premiere of Hanukkah. And both Caroline Williams and Sadie Katz are both in it, and it is Chad, you get this one. It's the first slasher film, done by like a rabbi. It's going to be. I think the rabbi might be the killer, or something. I don't even know.
We're not supposed to tell.
No, I don't even know.
No, but that's good. So let's not tell.
But the trailer, you guys, is on YouTube. You guys, so watch the trailer on YouTube.
It's called Hanukkah.
It's called Hanukkah, starring Sid Haig, Caroline Williams, Sadie Katz, the girl from Carrie is in it. PJ Souls. It's got a really fun horror movie cast. It's going to be fun.
We're going to have the whole cast on our show when they get release time, when they're allowed to do it. But Caroline Williams is totally naked, and she's in a bathtub taking a mitzvah in blood. So that should be kind of like...
That's those in the picture. They have a Hanukkah picture that we've been putting out everywhere.
Sexy but horrible. Caroline Williams has the body of death. I mean, she's got a body, not an ounce of fat, shapely, beautiful bones with skin over them. So she's got legs for days, an ass that's gorgeous. Her boobs are beautiful. We saw her in panties and a bra. We guys get to see everything. Gay guys. While we were changing clothes for a movie she was shooting. And stunning body, beautiful girl.
Absolutely. So we got to call our first guest.
So go see the film, you pervy little men out there who like to see nudity.
There you go.
Just to see Caroline Williams sliding around.
Dave Hughes says to quit mentioning Sadie Katz. He's having wet dreams, and he wants to be in the movie in any of the bedroom scenes.
You know what, Dave? There was a time I would have fixed you up with Sadie. But Sadie Katz...
He's married.
That doesn't... Oh, he is? Oh,
yeah.
You dirty pig.
He's married, and Sadie Katz has a boyfriend.
Sadie Katz may be getting engaged soon. So that's it for Sadie. She's taken by a terrific guy named Miles, who we love a lot.
Yes, in blood, Pat. So we're going to call our first guest, you guys. While we're trying to get him on the line, we're going to play American High's Shake Calvo. How's that, Chad?
Sounds good to me.
All righty. So, everybody, here's American High's Shake Calvo. It's a great song. Hope you guys enjoy it. And while we're playing it, we're going to get Misha Crosby on the line.
Prohibition ushered in a period of violence. Gang wars and Tommy guns were the byword of the day. Speakeasies sprang up all over the land, and the police had to seek them out. Now here they follow a tip. The plans are made for a raid. The question is it a real tip or a phony? They'll soon find out.
from the law. The policemen come, the army men come, they all look the same. What did you do me? What did you do so? Na 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 no na. Na 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 no na. Na 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 no na. Na 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 no na.
All right, fellas, we are back.
All right, everybody. So that was American High, Shay Calvo. Before we get started, we have Misha Crosby on the line. We want him to say hi to make sure we can hear him.
Hello, hello.
Yeah, there you go. Now you're looking at us, so that looks good. Okay. So everybody, now we're gonna introduce him. So we want to welcome to the Jimmy Star Show with Ron Russell, the incredibly talented actor, producer, editor, Misha Crosby. Hello and welcome to the show.
Hello. Thank you very much for having me.
Let me introduce you to everybody, starting off with my cool, outrageous man about town co-host, Mr. Ron Russell.
Hi. Now you're a very handsome man, and you look exactly like an actor from the 1940s, and his name was Turun Bey. Now you should look up Turun Bey.
Later.
He always played a magician or somebody very magical. He was always a mystical look, but a good-looking man. But you're a good-looking man too, so you're an actor.
Yeah, well, I'll take all of that. I do not know to whom you're referring, but I will look him up a little later.
Turun Bey, I think he was. They used to pass him off as a Indian, but he wasn't. I think he was like Jewish from Brooklyn or something. But they used to, back in those days, they used to dress you up and say you were this and that, and you were never that. Right. But anyway, so what films?
Hold on. We're gonna finish our introductions. We got to introduce him to the man behind the boards, Mr. Chad Murphy.
Mr. Crosby, welcome.
Thank you.
You got
nice to meet with you, Chad.
You got that place padded like a crazy room.
Yes, that is one way of describing it. This a bit of editing goes on in here, some voiceover, and
makes it nice and dead.
Keeps out keeps the echo down to as much of a minimum as possible.
Very cool.
So we've got a chat room full of people right now. We have lots of people from England. We have Germany, Estonia, Australia, Canada, the United States. So just say hi to everybody in the chat room.
Hello, everyone in the chat room. Thank you for being there.
There you go. And for all you guys who remember all the different guests that we've had, Misha came as a referral from Janae Alt. You guys remember her? She was on. It was probably 2 years ago when we had her on. But she's like an actress who's smoking like one of the hottest girls in Hollywood. She's super nice and fabulous. We had a great time with her, and she's a lot of fun. So he came as a referral from her, and we were on a set this weekend. Ron was shooting a film this weekend. And one of the people on there saw the picture on my phone that you were coming on the show, and she was like, "Oh my God, I love Misha Crosby. He's so cool, and he's so handsome, he's so nice, he's so talented." And that was Augie Duke. So Augie Duke says hi.
And she's a sweetie pie. I love her.
Augie is wonderful, and she's like, my gosh, that girl works. I cannot turn around without seeing her in another indie movie.
Yes,
all the time.
And she's so fabulous.
She's been working since she's a kid. The reason why my energy is very low and my voice is bad is because we shot all week and I'm exhausted. And now I really am sort of sleeping on my own show, which is terrible. But, you know, when you're movied out, do you ever get that? Movied out. When it's enough already with the lights, the makeup, the bullshit, the having to say things. One more fucking line I have to read, I'll commit suicide for sure. I just want to, today, I wanted to go, because we live in Palm Springs and it's beautiful. I wanted to go float in the pool with a nice dirty martini and relax. But here I am working 2 hours.
I feel you. Listen, the official line is, of course, incredibly grateful to do that job. It's an amazing thing to be able to be on set and do something creative. However, sometimes just being in a booth where nobody can freaking see you, no makeup, nothing like this, and just doing voiceover is the most amazing thing in the world, So
40 years ago, I couldn't wait to get on a set. I couldn't wait to go to work. I loved it. I was all about it. I was talking about it. I was all over the set, meeting Rock Hudson and meeting all the people up at Universal. Yeah. It was a thrill. Now it's a factory.
Mm.
All right.
Is that because you've changed, or you think the way it's been shot has changed?
The industry has changed. And don't forget, I was in major motion pictures with big studios, Universal, okay, or Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
Now I'm doing low-budget indies.
Right.
So there is a tremendous difference in the atmosphere.
His first film was with Tab Hunter and Sophia Loren. He's older than he looks.
I started working in 1959 when I was 19 years old. And that was, my first star was Sophia Loren. I mean, how do you beat that? I never have. And I've worked with Jackie Smith and Farrah Fawcett, and I've worked with a lot of people.
He's not even old enough to know who any of those people are.
I've heard of many of these people, but yes.
You never heard of, what were those three broads show called I used to be on?
Charlie's Angels.
Charlie's Angels.
I've heard of them.
And they were beautiful people. And just the studio was different. The whole treatment was different. The whole mentality was different. The professionalism was beyond belief. Indie films tend to be not the same quality.
I think
Not all of
listen,
them.
I mean, with money comes certain standards with that a lot of the time, and also the group of people that you choose to work with. But when there's been a race to the bottom, it seems, for those kind of levels, and there's so many ultra low budget movies going on, and which is movies shot for less than $100,000, and you think, well, where does that go? That would be, the budget for maybe the food for a few days on a show or anything else, and so. And of course that scales accordingly, but I would say that out of that, you still get these gems that manage to emerge regardless. And whether the experience, behind the scenes of that is, like shuttled back to your trailer by the AD and taken care of as well, that remains to be seen as a different thing. However, like sometimes the work that emerges from those sets is amazing. It's just like getting there can be a little more rough around the edges.
Absolutely.
No, but I think what I felt most, I'm 78 years old,
Yeah.
and I think I felt like I was the oldest creature in the planet, and everybody there was kids. They're all kids for me. They're 33, they're 37, 40 is probably the oldest. And they're like, my daughters are those ages.
Mm.
So I really didn't have any camaraderie. In the old days,
Except for the DP, you guys got along great.
Oh, I love the DP. Oh, the DP. Oh, I'm telling you, this DP was an old gent from England.
Yeah.
Boy, did he know his stuff. I just kept telling him, you are so refreshing. I love the work you do. He just knew. He did a shot on me that the director was against, and he fought for that shot. And when the shot was done, practically everybody on the set wanted to applaud it. It was so wonderful. He was the best DP. He was probably from the old days because his work was that sort of work, Alfred Hitchcockian, He liked those shots that were just not television shots.
Yeah.
But I found myself to be, of course, I know Sadie Katz. She's my other adopted daughter.
Actually, I bet he knows Sadie. Do you know Sadie Katz?
Sadie Katz, no, I do not know, but heard of.
Okay.
I mean, and
actually,
and Audra was wonderful.
Augie.
So I mean, I was around a lot of sweet kids. But
actually, there was Gianni Garibaldi, I think his name is. He's from the UK also.
Gianni Garibaldi. Again, these names making headway. I'm great with faces, not so great.
I am too. I'm just like that. So I got a bunch of people in the chat room. Number one, everybody, he's in LA right now, but they want to know because all the UK people want to know where you're from when you were in the UK.
So I grew up in North London, just off the Holloway Road, which means I am a pretty big Arsenal fan, which also means I wake up for a lot of pain and suffering around 5 a.m. on a Saturday morning. Although this actually changed a little recently, so I have hope. We got a new manager in, and very very tribal around that part of the world. I mean, there's another rival club, Tottenham Hotspur, and if I had decided to have supported them, I might not have lived quite as long. So,
well, all the people in the UK, because we have a huge audience in the UK, and so you guys, for all of you guys who watch BBC television, Misha was on the TV show Holby City and also Hollyoaks, which Hollyoaks I know is a really big deal just because I watch like X Factor UK. I watch all these different things on YouTube, and they're always talking about Hollyoaks. So I know that one's actually a really big deal. I don't know about Holby City, but he was in both of those, you guys, when he was a little bit younger. Now he moved to the U.S. And he also, another thing I found very impressive with your resume is that you like play the violin, and that you're like some kind of violin virtuoso. And at like 14 years old, you were like packing arenas and stuff.
Wow. I started playing pretty young. My dad's a musician, and he encouraged me to play an instrument from a really young age, and I took to that until I was a teenager, and then it was one of those where I was very lucky. I got to go to a great school off the back of my violin. The scholarship paid for a lot of those fees, but I had to perform quite a lot, and at a certain point, I kind of, around 18 when I left school, I put that violin away in a closet and didn't touch it for a little bit because it wasn't really on my own terms. But after a little bit, it was actually Holby City. Funny enough, that show you mentioned, they needed somebody to play the violin to come in and play the son of one of the major characters, and it kind of it got me a bit of a breakout there, and I was really grateful for it. And
were you Kieran? Was your character named Kieran?
Yeah,
they're writing it in the chat room. They're like, "Oh yeah, he was Kieran."
Yeah, this is a little while ago now. I mean, that's it's probably about 10 years, if not a little more, which is crazy that people remember that. Thank you for the people who remember that.
I think that's hilarious.
Now, a little bit about you. Are you married?
No, not married.
Do you have any children?
No.
You know.
Do you have a dog?
Do I have a mom?
No, did you have a dog? I hope you have a mom.
Yeah, no, I got a mom. No dog. I had cats for most of my life. In fact, me and my ex, we had cats together. Which now with her, I go and look after them whenever she goes out of town. One of them still hasn't forgiven me for not being there, but maybe one day she'll get over it.
Well, what happened between you and your ex? You seem to be a nice guy and good looking, and so why would she not still be with you? Give me a little bit of gossip.
He traded up.
A little bit behind the curve. We were together for about 7 years, which in this town, as you know, is quite a long time. It's quite a long time outside of this town, but we decided mutually to part ways. It just she's still a very important part of my life in many ways. We're still friends. I still call her. She works for an organization called the ISA, the International Screenwriters Association, and she vets screenplays there, which is amazing for me when I'm looking for new material, because I can call her and say, hey, what you got? What's the best stuff? And so we talk a little bit still work-wise, and all our friends are still so interconnected, so we still see each other a lot.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice.
Did you know in our country,
Yeah.
a 7-year relationship is called common law,
Right.
and that's as good as a marriage.
That's why
Oh,
she
it
got
felt
the,
like
that's
it was
why
as
she
good
got
as
the
a
dogs.
Yes, after 7 years, it's you can really claim a palimony or whatever.
Yeah, no, unfortunately, I don't think either of us had enough to worry about to claim it for each other.
So in the chat room, they're saying that you need to cough as you say Arsenal and jiggle his glasses. It's a British joke. I don't get it, so maybe you will.
Yeah, cough and jiggle is
Quite sure about that. I mean, hey, maybe this little thing, I could do it. I don't know if it's necessary. But, who does that person support?
I don't know. Hannah Clive, who do you support? Hannah Clive is a really talented British singer. And Dave Hughes is saying, yeah, it was a little bit more than 12 years, maybe.
Dave Hughes can get bitchy at times.
Yeah.
No, but they're all laughing and doing it in fun, though. It's all done in total fun. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about. She's probably going to answer if she's. I think she's still in there. So you did Holby City and Hollyoaks. You're attached to a new show that I guess is not out yet, but it looks really cool. Children of the Machine.
Yeah, Marco Weber, the producer of, he did a movie called Igby Goes Down, and he was involved in Brooklyn's Finest with Ethan
Brooklyn's
Hawke.
Finest is good.
Yeah, and Marco is, he's a wonderful writer as well, and he put together this series, sci-fi series. It was a few years ago now, and it was going to be sort of independently produced as a show, and then the distribution channel was going to be through BitTorrent, which they have about 170 million monthly active users, which is like numbers that even
ungodly.
Most networks can't compete with that. And so everything was really in place. Oh, excuse me, not only once but twice. And in fact, the day before I was about to go up to Utah, we had this cast dinner planned, and I was meeting some of the other members of the cast. I think who was it? Bella Thorne's sister was in there, Kaylee Thorne, and a few others who
I love Bella Thorne.
Attached. Right,
okay.
but she was just in. It's weird. I was just looking down. My friend did a movie called Ride that premiered at the LA Film Festival. Rest in peace. It just she went out, and I went to go see that premiere a couple, maybe about 3-4 weeks ago. It was great. If anybody is interested in seeing a movie about a robbery in an Uber, it's well worth a watch. Jeremy did a great job with his directorial feature debut. But no, back to Children of the Machine. So I was getting ready to go out to this cast dinner. We were going out to a restaurant in LA, and I got a call from my agent, and I said, "Hey, Sin, I can't really talk right now. I'm just about to go meet the rest of the cast." And she said, "Misha, I don't think that's happening."
No!
I said, "What?" And she said, "Sit down."
Uh-oh.
And I said, "Okay." And then she proceeded to tell me that one of like the major finance groups of the show had broken their contract, and that 100 people up in Utah who had already set up pre-production and in Los Angeles had been told to stop work immediately, and they were like trying to put it all back together. And that was the last I heard on that. And so we will see. I hope it comes back around, because the role was freaking amazing. It was something I was thoroughly excited to do, and we'll see. These things can come back around. It's still a really relevant story, set in sort of a not too distant future, 2039, where we're all kind of jacked in, as it were, to the internet up here.
I'm sorry, that's terrible.
What happened to contracts?
Oh, there was a contract, and it was pay or play as well. It was probably more money. I mean, it was it was a series regular deal for a whole season, so it was a good chunk of change. And you really want to sue the people that you want to do the job with? It's one of those.
I hear this all the time. The production that I was on, there was also some financial difficulty. I heard this about, there's two more, I have two films, actually I have 3 films coming up I'm doing. One film we were ready to go a couple of weeks ago, but the finances fell through. And I said, don't they have, years ago, what was it called, Jimmy, when they used to have to sign the thing, a commitment?
They have to sign those too now.
So,
I guess they're easy to get out of.
How do you, no, but wait a minute.
It's that thing.
Hang on.
Doesn't. Oh, sorry.
If you cast a film like you just told us,
yeah,
and you've got actors and people waiting, and then you back out, that's bullshit. How could that? You have to sue them or something. They can't get away with that.
Listen,
you're people. You're not dolls.
I feel you. I mean, trust me, it wasn't an easy thing, because at the time, because it was a pay or play, I'd actually bought a new car, and we'd kind of moved into a different apartment, because I was going to be going away for about 6 months. So my girlfriend at the time, I didn't want to leave her where we were. We'd set up a whole load of new things, and then then the money never showed. Now, listen, it wasn't. Is it the responsibility of those producers? I mean, yes, but they had commitments broken by them, so it just kicks the can down the line.
It's a line.
But couldn't you sue for breach of contract?
I mean, here's the thing. Yeah, it could have sued, but if the company does not have the money, you're suing essentially for nothing at that point. Now, maybe could we have got something down there? At the time, I was also of the belief that, listen, the show would come back around, and I didn't really want to sue the people I hope to have, a working relationship with.
But couldn't you sue the finances, the people who were financing?
The finances. It wasn't something I explored more than all of that at the time, and it's probably something. Maybe too much time has passed now. I don't know. I mean, to be honest, it was like everybody probably has a story somewhat similar. who's been in this town for long enough about financing falling through.
Come on, we have all kinds of them.
I would have got the money. Believe me, I would have called.
Everybody else around me told me.
Listen, I'm from Brooklyn. I would have called some old friends. They would have put a hit on him, and you would have watched how fast he would have came across with the cash. Or he'd be floating in the East River.
I love it.
Only kidding. I think that stinks, and I think this is what's wrong with the business nowadays. Years ago, the studios had the bucks. Your film made the money to make the next film. That's why if they used to say your bucks poison, you know, if you don't bring in the bucks with your film, you're out. But today that we have to, and most of it is Asian money, I understand. It comes from Vietnam, comes from Korea, Japan, and China. And I don't think they really give a damn about what's going on here. They're just interested in owning and making money. I don't think they're creative people that want the film to be because of whatever.
Of course, they all want it. That's all financiers
wait a minute.
just want to make money.
No. Years ago, I've met a lot of people in my day that were people that were like lawyers and doctors who were putting in what we called in those days carriages of $250,000 apiece to build up the amount of money to get to the But back in those days, I mean, look at the Night of the Living Dead was made for $60,000, and it's a classic film today. So our budgets back then were not what they are today. I mean, $1 million budget was Cleopatra with Elizabeth Taylor.
I mean, everything's scaled just because of the inflation of things. Sure.
But when the studio had the bucks, they never quit a film because they usually quit a film because the actor who was signed into the film became a prima donna and was difficult. That's when they had a can of film, quickly cut it. But never finances like I hear now. Right, Jimmy?
Well, I mean, I had a film that I had already everything all done, and I had all the financing set up, and right before we started pre-production, it fell, and I had worked my ass off for 6 months.
And we had
believe it.
We had a green light.
Yeah. It's part and parcel, I think, of what, you know, as I said, most people have had to deal with it. I'd been working on a movie for about 4 years with my partner, Jared Roxburgh, who I just shot another film with, and many different. I mean, I could write a book about what we did. I mean, we ended up driving into the middle of the desert to go pick up a check, and then, you know, the person wasn't there, and then we had numerous promises made from other people, and until the money is kind of there in the bank account for the LLC created by the film, I don't really believe it anymore. But you still then have to have faith to sort of move negotiations on as well. So it's kind of a tricky either side of it.
This whole business stinks because SAG still has not raised the salary of a low-budget film. If I tell you what an actor gets, I mean, I'm not allowed to, but if I told you...
He knows. He's been in those films.
No.
Yeah, we may have had to pay some actors that salary to get some movies made.
I'm not saying you. When I say you, I mean the audience, because don't forget, the audience thinks that because we're in movies, we drive Rolls Royce, we live in mansions, and we're rich like Angelina Jolie. No. A small movie that's a SAG indie,
low budget.
ULB is what the term is.
Ultra low budget.
Yeah, well, that people won't know. We have to speak here like, you know.
Yeah, they would know. They get it.
No, what you think our audiences know what that stands for?
And when you tell it to them,
I don't think they understand what a DP stands for.
When you say, I know, but when you say SAG ultra low budget, they get it.
How many people in the shit room there got it?
They got it. They're all. First of all, most of the people who listen to the show are in entertainment.
And when we said DP, I'm stupid.
Director of photography.
I know that, but I never.
In the UK, they add the O into that, or we drop the O here, whichever way around you want to put that. And that, I don't know where that came from. America does just like that.
Yeah, America does it different.
But I believe the pay scale is for a low indie budget.
It depends on what the low indie budget is.
It's like $120 a day.
It depends.
Yeah, and that was raised recently as well. It was at I believe 100. Maybe it was last year or the year before. The union really fought to get that extra $20, which is really not going to go all that far, as we know in this town. But
any town, I don't care what.
Yeah.
You know what? If you want to make movies nowadays, you have to really love it, because the chances are that you're going to become the next Brad Pitt or probably Slim. You have to really enjoy what you're doing, do it for the love of it, not do it for the fame, and see where it goes, because you don't ever know. You never know who's going to hit and who's not. Just do the best work you can do and have fun with it, and also produce and edit and anything else you got to do while you're trying to make it.
Yeah, but
that's become part and parcel of what building a career is now as well, is like being attached to your own IP, creating and shaping your own IP, intellectual property or stories, and really then having a chance and a say. Quite frankly, listen, you can go out there in this town, you can go audition for the biggest movies and the biggest television shows in the world. And
you know what? My politics are this. And I know Angelina Jolie, so I'm not speaking poorly of Angie. I'm happy Angie got $25 million for that stupid Maleficent, okay? Mm-hmm. That to me is total bullshit. Who the hell is she? And I love her to death. She grew up in my house. She's my daughter's friend. And Angie, I love you if you get wind of this. But sweetheart, nobody in this planet is worth $25 million. No one.
Well,
money they should not give these stars that kind of money. Let the other workers get it, because all of the people that I were in the trailer with were complaining about rent. One of the gals said she moved 20 times because she keeps getting kicked out of apartments for lack of rent. I mean, these actors are struggling, and it's really hard. And Angie is in France, in her villa with her wine, and she's having a grand time. And Brad Pitt, the same thing. And George Clooney is
so let him take his take.
Well, wait a minute. George Clooney is in Italy on Lake Como in his mansion. They're having a great time. And he's
made more money off his tequila brand than he's made off movies now. Though.
Yes, now you're right.
But what I would say, Jimmy, is yes, of course. I mean, is it top heavy where all the money is? Yes, and it's because what we got down to when it comes to finances and financing, there's no emotion behind that. They don't care. It's about the bottom line. And when it comes to even financing, quite frankly, independent movies, looking at between $1 and $5 million on some of those, or you're looking at your studio movies over 100. That kind of ground in between is kind of difficult now.
Yes.
But at the let's say the 1 to 5, process, by having a star in inverted commas in there, I mean, yes, you pay them more than anybody else, and you can probably maybe get away with Schedule F, which is about $65,000 on an independent film. If you give them more of a back end point,
fat chance you get that deal going.
But exactly, but right. But let's just say like the star does take the majority of that for any talent. It's not because somebody's being nice to them or somebody's like, oh, we're going to give this star that because we want to. Because generally what will happen is that by having that attachment, you go out to distribution companies, you can get minimum guarantees from different territories, and that forms the budget along with your tax credits and everything else. So is it, unjust for everybody else? Absolutely. I've been in situations where I was told by the director that they wanted me to be in it, but it didn't make financial sense for the picture. And that's, of course, really difficult. And I then tried to put myself in positions where that wouldn't happen or couldn't happen to me, and the only way to do that is by being attached to the IP yourself.
Yeah, right. But they also take tax out of the 120, which really makes me laugh my ass off. So they tax you on the 120.
Well, that's not them. That's the government.
Listen, no, but that's okay. Listen to me. The film business, Bette Davis, one of the greatest actresses of our time, probably if not the most famous legend of Hollywood, Bette Davis, worked for crap because she loved the work. Right. And I knew Betty well. I hung with Betty for a while. And I used to talk to her about this. And she'd say, Ron, I'm only happy when I'm working. When I'm not on a set, she said, I don't know what to do with myself. And she would work for $65,000, the legend Bette Davis in those days. Why don't Angie and Brad and George and Jennifer and the rest of them feel the same way?
That's still a low budget. So they don't even make movies hardly, though, that are in the $1 to $5 million range.
But why don't they say, listen, let's give some of
them do, actually,
so I think
once in a while.
So like Jonah Hill, I think, famously did that Scorsese movie that he got the Academy Award nomination for Schedule F. And so I think it depends on the filmmaker. Like again, there are actors that do Woody Allen films for this. Are you going to do a studio movie for that? No, and nor should you. It's like at that point, if the studio's paying the paycheck, absolutely, I'm taking that money. But some things aren't financed in a structure that facilitates that. So it's like, yeah, will you do it for this and make some money on the back end? If it does well, then for sure. I'm not in a position where you mentioned Angelina Jolie. There are probably people on one or two hands in the world that can command that kind of paycheck, and that name recognition is not to be sneezed at. It's a huge thing, and it puts people on seats, and hence makes people feel more comfortable investing upwards of $100 million in a movie with that star behind it. So it's all about risk. It's all about security.
So what we're talking about nowadays is name, not talent. In the 1940s and 50s, the actors, and we went to see a Bette Davis movie. We didn't know what the hell it was about. We had no pre-publicity. There was no such thing as media. It was in the newspaper or word of mouth. Your neighbors said, go see All About Eve with Bette Davis. It was wonderful, and we went, okay? Yeah. Today, they buy a name, whether you can act, whether the story's good, whether the movie's good, they don't give a shit. Because I go to a movie, and Sophia Loren had a fit because she was cast in a movie that she got killed 20 minutes into the film. And she hates that movie because they used her name to bring the public in. And I won't mention the film, but the public went in to see Sophia Loren, and she's shot by a Nazi. Dead on the floor in a hotel room. And Sophia was furious. She was used. Okay? And Carlo Ponti was supposed to have done something with it, and he didn't. But today they bring in a major, major star to bring you in, and the star is 6 minutes in the movie and got $30 million.
No, they don't get 30
million.
Well,
I'm being a fucking
right. No, but it's
not a wise ass.
It's not an uncommon story what you've just shared. And I had a friend that just did a film with Bruce Willis. Bruce Willis was probably on set for maybe all of 2 days. The other actors weren't even there. Like for his coverage, he would be there on the reverse shot. That would be shot all at another time. And, is the movie going to be of any value? Absolutely not, most probably, from what the other actor told me. But, they will use his presence and his name to sell that film. In fact, they already have sold it. They've pre-sold it before the movie's even come out. So it's very much, I'm not saying there's not art that still goes on. Of course there is. There are people that want to make amazing movies and put their blood, their sweat, their tears into that stuff. But at the same time, there are also some people that are just churning out their machine,
Actually, you actually made a movie, though, because you made a movie that I went online and Googled it. Beyond Paradise. It got great reviews. You play a lead character in it. It doesn't have anybody. I mean, it has well-known people in it, but it's not like there's no like A-list, banking billion-dollar movies in it. But it's a very good. You've got a very strong cast. You had a great role. I don't know what the budget was, but I mean, it got great reviews, and it's something in your body of work that you can be really actually proud of. Like, wow, I was in this film, and this is a really good film, and I did a good job, and that's really like what you should get from it. And hopefully, working from things like that, when people see that and see you in that takes you to the next level of the next type of movie that you get in.
But you have to remember one thing.
Wait, let him answer.
Wait, I'm sorry. Was there a question? I fade away. I just went back. I just went into thinking again. I have to sleep. I have not had to sleep.
So no, with Beyond Paradise, listen, I met some great people on that. I got to explore a role that was removed from me, and I'm proud of that work. I really am. It's not gonna break any box office records, but in terms of who else was in that with me, so you got
Daphne Zuniga's in it. I love Daphne Zuniga.
You got Ryan Guzman from the Step Up movies, and then as well Francia, who wonderful human being as well. And I'm really grateful for not only the chance to do the type of work in that, but just the relationships you get to take with it as well. But,
absolutely.
All right, one of the points I want to make is $25 for two people to go see a movie.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
How many people can afford that in our country?
First of all, that's because we get the senior ticket,
I'm saying
though.
Something important.
I know, but it's
Jimmy,
more
wait
than
a
that.
second. I'm saying something very important. Please don't interrupt me because I'll bang this fucking mic over your head. You'll never know what hit you. You'll be dead, and I'll get rid of you, and I'm going to go find somebody richer than you.
Yes.
And marry him because I'm married to Jimmy. That's why we fight. But anyway, so $25 for a ticket. Now they say, oh, it's got Marilyn Monroe in it. Let's go see it because they want to go see it. And then Marilyn Monroe's in it in a minute. That is a ripoff. That is that is not representing the film correctly. It's improper disclosure. They should say, this bitch is going to be in the film for 5 minutes. You want to blow $25? Blow your $25 that they had to save up all month for. This is my point. Movies are no longer for the world. Movies for those who can afford it. When they come on television, half of the time they're edited, cut in commercials. And who wants to sit there and watch a movie with commercials? You lose the value of the film. So what I'm saying, and my point is, I sound like a friggin' communist, but I don't care. Hollywood is all about money. They don't give a shit about the theater. They don't give a shit about their scripts. They put out any old crap. That Star is Born is the biggest piece of junk I've ever seen, with that gutturally voiced jerk that's directing it and that broad with her pussy showing. I mean, really, do we need to see Lady Gaga's bushy box in the bathtub just to make a film work?
I've not seen that movie yet. I've heard very lovely things about it, but I haven't seen it, so I can't.
You know what?
I liked it.
Yeah, you liked it because you're today. Everybody that's today likes it because that's the quality of garbage they like. But I'm from the day of Barbra Streisand when she did it, and the film was remarkably done well, and she's a brilliant actress as well as singer. I mean, they're doing all the remakes of my movies and destroying them, making them into garbage with vulgarity, with nudity, with stupidity. In our day, the film was about the story. A beginning, a middle, an end. The actor knew what he was doing. He portrayed the character without vulgarity, without nudity, without blood flying all over. It was done because it was called acting, and it was called filmmaking. Today they want realism, reality. We have enough reality with Donald Trump and what's going on in the world. We don't need any more reality. We need to go to film to see fantasy, to escape the day that we have to suffer through each day because we have bills and illnesses and airplanes flying over making noise in your studio. Like one's coming now. I mean, you know,
I think we're in a place where there's probably more content being made than there ever has before, from at least the outside of movies. So let's just take a television or SVOD, which is video on demand, streaming video on demand, like something like Netflix, Hulu, all of these. And there's a lot of money being put into this type of content. And with regards to what you said about the ticket sales, I mean, it's not unheard of for those kind of prices to be around, and it's I don't know. I just don't think it's conducive to for a future for that kind of format, because you look at most people now, to get them out of their house or out of their Netflix or into a theater, it really takes a studio movie. It's not most people aren't going out for your indies anymore. Or even it'll be interesting to see around this time of year. We're coming up to kind of award season. I mean, most of this town they get screeners sent through the door, so it's good luck getting to leave that. But if to see what those kind of numbers are, and people still want to come out to the theaters to see that type of film, because they tend to be your smaller pictures rather than these flagship Spider-Man 12 or whatever we're on now.
Spider-Man 12.
Exactly. Jimmy and I go to the movies once a week to see what's current. I must tell you, we are sometimes the only ones in the theater. And I love it because it's like a private showing. Now, we live in Palm Springs, which is a very affluent town. Everybody can afford to go to the movies every night if they want. Okay? They just don't go because they're not interested in what they're showing. People are not paying the money that they used to pay. Years ago, you went to the movies for 50 cents and got Betty Davis and Joan Crawford or Clark Gable.
He's talking about many years ago.
I'm talking about major stars. Well, that's when the business was new, and that's when the business wasn't corrupted by foreign people who are investing. I know a director who is told who to hire and who not to hire by the investor. What the fuck does the investor know?
That always happens, though.
What does the investor know? He knows that this one's got a name because he just got blown in a bathroom last week, and now he's a big old fag out there, and they want to publicize the old queen. So
I bet you have that happen, though, right? You have, because I know you produce a lot of films. If you produce a film and they don't like your cast, you got to change it.
We very rarely had to put ourselves in a position where, gun to our head, hey, this person has to be in it. But what I would say, though, is, listen, of course, the bottom line, it has to be a factor. These people are going to trust you with, upwards of millions of dollars, and you've got to show them how you're going to get their money back.
Yep,
first thing to ask somebody for money, it's like, okay, well, how am I getting it back? And one of the ways to do that is to mitigate the risk by putting somebody in there that is going to put bums on seats or get you some pre-sales. Now that doesn't have to be, the protagonist in every case. It doesn't even have to be, the second lead, but it has to be somebody that's going to be in there for longer than 5 minutes, you would hope. Otherwise, as you say, people feel very shortchanged by that. But
what I'm happy about is our theaters now, we have many. We have one, The River, which is magnificent. We also have the Mary Pickford Theater, which is like something from the 1920s built. Magnificent theaters. They only do one showing an evening because there's no second showing. So what I'm happy about is TV screens are getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And movie theaters are going to go out of business. And then Hollywood's going to have nowhere to show their stupid rip-off movies, and they're going to have to send them to television. And television is a whole different mentality than movies.
Well,
so there you go.
The kids today, at least from what I hear, the kids today, am I that old? But the people consuming content now, they don't see it as like movie or TV or whatever. It's just content, whether that's on an iPad, whether that's on whether it's Game of Thrones at home or Game of Thrones in a movie theater. I think it's kind of going to get to that place where the differentiation doesn't matter and the quality of it will be, its determining factor. Now, most television is produced to a much higher standard than most movies are for purely financial reasons. And, if you're looking at a budget of, $5 million upwards on most episodics, and there are several thousand movies a year being made out there for $100,000 or maybe even less, and maybe a few of those get great distribution because they come through a festival system and they're really solid. But to make something cheap, you've got to have a lot of sweat equity, and by that I mean people that are willing to do you favors and rental houses and things like that to make it look like it costs $5 million, but it only costs 100 G's is a lot of work. And we, I've had experience with that. And, those relationships that you build along the way are those ones that can help you do that, hopefully. But what was the question?
That's it. No, that's good. That was a good answer.
But some of the $20 million stars are now working on television, and they're not getting anywhere near $20 million. There's two on TV. One is a friend of mine who's doing a commercial. I won't say who he is, but he's doing a car commercial. And he was a major, major star in the 80s. One of the heartthrobs of Hollywood. Broke as a bat. Jane Russell, the legend of Hollywood, was my dearest, closest friend. We were like brother and sister. And Jane Russell at one time was the hottest property that Hollywood ever had. She made money like it was going out of style. $500,000 was a lot of money then. In her older years, she didn't have very much. And she lived like a normal person, or as an average person. And when I said to her, do you miss what you had? And she said, what do you think? You don't miss what you don't have. But she missed the youth, the beauty, the money, and the popularity. But she was a clever lady, and she was able to handle it well. But I know of two other stars who I won't give the names who are a mess. They are nuts. They are totally neurotic and insane because nobody recognized. I was out in I was in a department store, and nobody recognized me. I say, sure, to myself, you don't look like yourself anymore. You look like some ugly old bitch. When you were young, you were beautiful. Now you're just a hideous old lady.
So hold on. Let's switch this because we've only got a few minutes and I want to go out of the business.
I'm done with my political shit.
I want to go out of business. All right, so you're like an up-and-coming. You got great credits. You got lots of stuff on IMDb in development and that you're working on both in front of the camera and behind the scenes to make it happen, which we do have a lot of guests who come on who actually do get into the producing and stuff, so that way they can produce the stuff that they're in, because really if nobody's knocking on the door to hire you, you need to like create your own opportunities, and a lot of people do create their own opportunities.
Beyond that, I mean, yes, there was actually like out of that heartbreak of Children of the Machine, where I just really wanted to establish back some control over what I wanted to do, and so I didn't actually go out and audition for a little bit after that. I formed a production company with a guy called Jared Roxburgh and a UFC Hall of Famer called Uriah Faber, and we've got about four or five pieces probably pieces of IP in development right now. We just shot a feature in May. It's going through post-production right now, and actually we went to go meet with the programmers of South by Southwest about two nights ago. They invited us to.
Oh, that's great.
And yeah, they said that we're a significant way along in this election process, which was really nice to hear. And yeah, so the hope would be that we will premiere that movie in their festival at the end of March. It's a movie about a robbery on a marijuana farm. It was based on a true story, actually. A friend of ours had got out of serving some time in Chicago and had some money, and him and his pregnant girlfriend bought some land up in Northern California and started growing. It was going great, making a lot of cash. In fact, they made a significant amount around the harvest. The problem with that is a lot of people know that you can't put that money into a federal bank account because the laws are the way it is. So it was all in cash. And bad people came in the middle of the day with balaclavas and guns and held them up at gunpoint.
Yes.
And now, like the community I'm in, it's connected pretty heavily to MMA, and Rob knew a gun disarmament from jiu-jitsu, and he found a moment, and he disarmed one of the robbers. And he shot him in the arm, and he shot him in the spine, and then he pointed the gun to the guy's friend, and he said, "Take your friend out of here right now, or I'm going to shoot you too." Dragged him out. Those two drove away, and they were found later that day bleeding out in a 7-Eleven. Cops were called. The cops searched the two robbers and realized that they had prior convictions, so they were allowed to search the vehicle.
Uh-oh.
Now, the vehicle had the GPS in with the last known address, which was the marijuana farm.
This sounds like a day in L.A.
Or it sounds like it sounds like it could have been like something created from like the people who did Ozark or something.
No, wait a
Right,
minute.
and well, so
This sounds
eventually,
no.
I probably shouldn't go into much more anyway.
No,
so
don't
won't
go
give
into
too
more,
much
'cause
more
we'll-
spoiler
no.
alerts. But
This
from
sounds-
that, we had a really wonderful true story to tell, and we had access to a farm up in Northern California. We shot in Murphy's, and the result of it I'm really, really proud of. It really is a fabulous little movie. We're doing the color on it right now. It's going through sound, but
What's the name of? So what's the name of it?
So back in the day when everybody was going west for gold, and people called it the gold rush, they actually said those people had gold fever. You know, that's what they said. Oh, this person's got gold fever.
Yes.
And right now, for want of a better word, we're going through a green rush, and so we called this movie Green Fever.
I love it. Okay. All right, we got like 2 minutes. Let me ask you a hypothetical. So who's your if you could pick your bucket list for who you would like to work with, male and female,
Oh gosh.
that you haven't had a chance to work with yet. I don't know why this went off. Let's see.
I mean, I've been a fan of like Johnny Depp for many years. I think Leonardo DiCaprio is doing great work. I mean, Brad Pitt. These guys are heavy hitters. I think. Who else?
Give me a female.
Fassbender. Michael Fassbender would be somebody I would really love to work with. Yeah,
He's a good one. All right, and a leading female to act opposite.
leading female. I'm trying to think who is out there doing amazing stuff that I've been watching recently. I mean, obviously, I grew up watching like a lot of Nicole Kidman. I watch.
That's good. Please don't say Meryl Streep.
Listen, Meryl Streep's very good at what she does. I mean, when you say Meryl Streep, for some reason Emily Blunt pops into my head. And
Emily Blunt, that's a good one. I like
saw
Emily
her
Blunt.
in the Girl on a Train, which I was very, very late to the party on, but she did fabulous work.
Yes, great
She's really
work.
good. I mean, there are so many. Like, by not mentioning people, I feel like I'm doing them a disservice, but off the top of my head, there we go.
There you go. All right, so here we got to go. So you don't have a Twitter, right? You're not really in social media too much.
No, like personal handles. No, I don't have much going on. I did create one though for the character I play in Green Fever. So there is Jacob Adder out there, which I believe is at I am _Adder. And so
how do you spell Adder? A-D-D-A?
A-D-D-E-R, yeah.
Okay,
And,
Adder. Okay.
I might keep hold of that and then just change it up. Next character I play, I might just change up the name and have it as that. But that way, you're not going to find anything about me like posting my breakfast or anything like that. But you'll see different bits of
That's why Ron doesn't like
some of the movies I've been in.
All right.
But you are aware of the fact that the more social media you do, the more work you'll get, and that's what Jimmy praises that to all of his clients. He tells them, if you don't have good PR, if you don't do social media, you ain't never working, baby. You're just dreaming.
It's true.
It's definitely become part of the equation to the point. And oh gosh, I really wish it wasn't part of the equation to the extent that it was. I was going to do a painting at one point of some new kid that came to Hollywood or something like that, and is getting back on a bus with a meme of I wanted to be an actor, but I didn't have enough followers or something like that.
Yes. Which is almost true. It could. I mean, it definitely helps if you're popular.
And
for sure. I mean, people are wearing this on its sleeve. I think one of the Game of Thrones actresses recently said, "Listen, I got the job over somebody else because I had more followers," and it's.
I think that's horrible. That stinks.
Anyway, I think it's horrible too, but it is a way, and since I'm good at it, I'm okay with it.
Well, I kind of threatened my director by saying I have over 250,000 fans, and we're all over the world, our TV show, and we could say good things about your movies, and sometimes we won't. And he got the message. Well, I made them all crazy because I kept dropping lines. You know, the lines were not my kind of lines. But anyway, they were his lines. You know what? The director wrote the script. Don't ever work for a director that writes the script because there's no room for your playing. You can't ad-lib or do anything. They want what they wrote to be there. Whereas Alfred Hitchcock used to tell his actors, go out there and act. I don't care what you say as long as the story comes out. And I think directors that do that really have a better movie. Pacino likes that.
We got to go. So,
but you make, just real quickly on that, you make the movie 3 times. You know, you write the movie, you shoot the movie, and then you edit the movie. And being able to just allow it to be what it is in each of those processes, I think is always going to come good. I've worked with some people that have written their piece and then they direct it, that they're okay with just letting go of that process and saying, no, this is a new process now. Now we're making the movie. Now it needs to be the best it can be here. It's the best it can be on the page, hopefully, and now it's got to be the best it can be on set, and then it's got to be the best it can be in the editing room, and that might be just totally different to what was envisaged on set.
Great information.
Yeah, but when you're a 3-time threat like that, writer, director, and editor, you really don't have any focus on what you're doing. You're focusing on your own ego. Whereas when you have a director that didn't write the script and doesn't do the editing, you have opinion, and opinion is what creates and makes the subject matter better. It's very flat, one-sided when you're a 3-time killer.
Yeah, I think
on
my
the whole, opinion.
I would hear you. There are some people. It really depends on the person. You know, some are better at others with taking themselves and their own ego out of that equation. I feel you. Trying to do everything at once is never going to work.
Also, you're taking salaries away from other people.
There's that too. Whoever has the goal tends to make the rules with that. But yeah, I feel like there are some people. I mean, again, with directing and editing, those two, I mean, go so hand in hand because you're sitting there. That relationship with the editor is probably, you know, the most important relationship you're going to have. And if you know how to edit yourself, I mean, sometimes I would say it's maybe not a great idea because you need that perspective. But I mean, after seeing a cut, God knows how many times, you know, you need other input. If you don't take it, you're crazy.
All right, so here's what we got to do. First of all, everybody in the chat room says they love the interview. They learned lots of stuff, and they also said that you are super, like, not hard on the eyes, so they love the way you look.
No, he's handsome as all hell. I mean,
we want to
really
thank you for coming on the show, and
he photographs beautifully.
Can't wait to see the film. Can't wait to see the films when they come out, especially the new pop film and Green Road. What did you call it? Green Fever. Looking forward to that. You guys, you'll be seeing a lot more of him in Hollywood. So he doesn't have the Twitter, but he will eventually. But he does have I am_Adder I am _Adder for one of his characters. And we want to thank you for coming on the show. We got another guest coming on, so we got to let you go.
And I want to tell your girlfriend, the ex-one, that she's crazy, that she didn't throw a net over you, baby, and get a wedding ring out of you, because if you were mine, I would never let you go. You're so sweet and so intelligent and so handsome. Tell her that I said so. She's crazy. She needs to see a shrink.
Well, listen, I will take all of those compliments. Thank you. You know, she is a part of this equation as well. But like both of you, it was a real pleasure to be on here. Thank you, everybody.
It was so nice of you coming
for
on.
Chiming in on the chat too, and hope to see you guys again around town or wherever.
All righty, bye-bye. Thanks,
Take
Misha.
care.
Bye-bye. See ya.
Yay!
Bye-bye.
Hey, everybody in the chat room. So that was Misha Crosby. Oh, no, I can't sit like that. Jeepers.
No, because you look like a fat. You look like Twiddly Dump from Alice in Wonderland.
Like Orca.
What was it? No, Twiddly D from Alice in Wonderland.
Like Orca.
The twins, Twiddly D and Twiddly Dot, the two round balloon
Twiddly D and
balls.
Twiddly Dot.
If you touch me one more time when I'm interviewing, I will smack you. I think that's horrible. You don't direct me. Remember that, Jim. And you're directing me by hitting my hand, telling me to switch conversation. I had that.
No, it wasn't to switch conversation.
Well, I got that interview going. I had to throw some salt in the wounds. Otherwise, that interview would have been flat.
It was a great interview.
Yeah,
Everybody
because-
loved it.
Yeah, because we made a little
They all want him to have a Twitter, though.
a little hostility, a little anger, and I wanted his true opinion because the business stinks. And all of you kids out there that are dreaming about being an actor or an actress, please educate yourself. Have another thing to do. God forbid it doesn't happen. So that don't just like stupid me. You know, I left school at 16 years old to be an actor. That's all I thought about. There was nothing else in the world that I would do. And I've done it all my life. Luckily, I'm successful, sort of, but not quite. You know, what I wanted to be. But
did you guys see Shazam, too, when he jumped in there?
yeah, my Shazam. That's a killer dog. He'd eat you in a minute if he saw you. But he's wonderful with the family. He's our guard dog. But seriously, children of the night, kids out there, think about it. It's not what you think. It's not movie premieres and limousines and lights and may I sign
You
your
have to do it
autograph?
because you actually love doing it. You don't
Yeah.
do it for all the other stuff
No.
because for every red carpet premiere that you get to go to and ride up in a limo, you work about 8,000 hours to get there of like
And
really
you know
not
what?
glamorous work.
I've been to so many red carpets in my life that they don't even matter anymore. It's like everything else, it gets to be commonplace. So now we go to red carpets and I say, oh, another crappy film we have to see, or a good film, or oh, I got to sit through this one. Oh, now we got to drive in. So it's not all you think it is. It's really hard work, and everybody's not really very honest or nice in the business. Everybody's sort of cutthroat.
Thanks, though, everybody in the chat room. B, Dave, Pat Grant joined us at the beginning of the interview. Everybody in the chat room, thanks so much. We're getting ready. We're going to call our second guest. Before I do that, let me just tell everybody you can hear us on W4CY Radio every Wednesday from 12 to 2 Pacific time or 3 to 5 Eastern time. We're on Monster FM Radio in New York, K4HD Radio in LA, Jackalope Radio in St. Louis, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Podbean, Audio Boom, Podomatic, iTunes, Apple TV, and Spreaker. And on television, we're on Vimeo, YouTube, Roku, and Comcast On Demand through the Galaxy Global Television Network. Now we're going to play the trailer for a brand new film. It's a Harley Wallen film called Agramon's Gate, starring our next guest, Laurene Landon. And so this is the trailer for it. I hope you guys enjoy it, and we're going to get Laurene on the telephone or on the Skype. How's that, Chad?
Let's do it.
All right, everybody, Agramon's Gate.
She is here.
Things are about to get interesting.
Can we talk to family members?
We could do a seance.
I'm honestly not a big fan of this kind of thing.
Spirit, oh spirit, who are here to see family and friends. Anyone else a daddy? Maybe that's you.
Your father, was he a bad man?
You could say that. He tried to kill my mom and me. One night when he was strangling her, I shot him with his own gun. She's been in a mental institution ever since.
It'll be different this time. What was that? Something pushed through.
Like a spirit?
What was that?
This didn't just happen to Richie. This happened to all of us.
You're all gonna die. Whatever it was stronger than anything I've ever felt before.
He is him! Him is he!
I think I know who it is.
Trust me when I say this. His soul is up for grabs.
His name is...
Oh my God!
Agramon.
You alright? Look like you seen a ghost.
All right, fellas, there we go.
All right, everybody, that was Agramon's Gate, and Laurene was calling my Skype, but she's not supposed to be calling me. We're supposed to be calling the studio instead, so we got to work it out. Chad?
Let's work it out.
Okay, good. Work it out. All right, everybody, so we're working it out now, and
there we go.
There we go.
There's my girl. There's my girl. Hi, sweetie.
Oh, look, she's got her ears on, her bunny ears.
I love her.
That's the same as her Skype picture.
What bunny ears? These are my regular ears. I washed them for you today, and I sprayed them.
There you go. I gotta love it.
How are you, my sweet?
I'm living proof that fossils still exist, I guess.
Me too.
Hey, how'd your show go the other day? You were filming a big movie.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm exhausted. It was a lot of work. I played a minister, and we shot the whole thing in like 11 hours. And I was on my feet for 11 hours, standing up with a couple of 10-minute breaks, doing the same fucking lines over and over again until I was about to scream.
I would have been on my back.
What?
She would have been on her back. Hold on, wait. We have to introduce you to everybody.
Well, no, we're not on yet.
Yes, we are.
Oh, we're on?
Yeah, we're on.
I didn't know we were on. Hi, Laurene. I love you, my cookie. How are you, sweetie?
I'm good, thank you.
I don't see you anymore. Where have you been?
Wait, hang on. Let's introduce her because people don't know who she is.
Oh, this is a sensational body of death and a face that's gorgeous. This broad is so sexy. She makes Marilyn Monroe look butch.
There we go, everybody. So now we want to welcome. Now we want to welcome to the Jimmy Star Show with Ron Russell, the incredibly talented and gorgeous Laurene Landon. Hello and welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And
thank you so much for having me on your show, guys. Thank you so much for having me again on your show. I'm so grateful. Thank you.
We love you, and we're so happy.
It's our pleasure, sweetie. Trust me, it's our pleasure.
I already know you know Ron and I. Let's just say hi to the man behind the boards, Mr. Chad Murphy.
Laurene Landon, welcome back.
Hi, Chad.
Good to have you again.
And then
I remember you. You were really cute. Where are you?
You can't see him, but he's really
good.
You just get to hear him and listen to that voice.
No, he's very handsome. He's got the most beautiful nose on a man. I wish I had his nose.
I'll send you one.
Then we have a chat.
You can. You can. It's Hollywood. You can do anything.
No, thanks. I don't want to take a chance. I could look like a pig. You know, they do the nostril thing. Like, look how I look with a nose job. Hello, is that pretty?
So we have a. Wait.
Shut up for a minute.
Let me finish the introduction. She's got a chat room full of people who all love her. They've been tweeting about.
We said it's.
No,
Laurene.
we haven't. We haven't said hello to the chat room. Laurene, say hi to everybody in the chat room.
Oh,
hello everybody in the chat room, and thank you so much for coming on the show and hopefully interacting with me and not saying too many bad things. I hope
they love you to death. They
Who
think
could
you're
say
fabulous.
Bad about you crazy.
So we just played the trailer for Agramon's Gate. The new film that I guess is going to be coming out soon. It's a Harley Wallen film. We love Harley. He's been on the show a bunch of times.
Yeah.
Isn't he the best? I mean, Harley Wallen reminds me so much of Robert Aldrich, and because Harley handles the actors with such grace, and he does this great translation of worlds, people, and stories, and he takes these complex characters and he assembles them all in this cohesive, full spectrum visual and auditive narration. He's a magnificent director, and everybody's calling him Harleywood now, which denotes a star. He's just a fabulous actor as well.
That's what I was going to say. We saw his film. We went to the premiere, and I just knew him as a director. And when the film was over, I said, "Harley, you can act." He played that Russian bad guy real good.
Oh yeah, Betrayed. We went to the red carpet premiere of Betrayed.
Yeah. Are we going to go to the premiere of your movie?
Are you going to have a premiere for Agramon's Gate?
Yes, at my house.
Nice.
That was very
my
quick.
bedroom. No, we're gonna have. Hopefully, we're gonna have a screening at the same place that you saw Betrayed.
Oh.
I love the movie. My friend Larry Cohen saw the movie. He loved the movie, and he hates everything. But I love the fact that Harley always. I call him the king of social commentary, because he always deals with social relevant issues that are so important today. For instance, human trafficking, drug trafficking. In Agramon's Gate, he deals with the subject of fear, which I'm sure we can all deal at some point in our lives with fear, because fear is a negative emotion, and fear warns us that we're in dangerous situations and we must take action. So I love that he tackles the issue of fear, because fear has been my constant companion since I was born and still is. So that's why I don't think very much.
You mentioned Larry Cohen. We met Larry Cohen when we met you for the first time, besides being on Skype at the premiere of, we're not going to say what movie it was because it was the biggest piece of shit I ever saw. And you guys left after like 5 minutes.
The movie kept breaking down, and Larry got really upset, and he saw 5 minutes of it, and he said, "That's it, out of here." So we won't say the movie, but it wasn't one of mine, thank God.
Yes, it wasn't one of yours. And Larry is a phenomenal director.
My little dog, she's eating the area rug. Stop chewing the rug, Brandy. You look so beautiful that night in that sexy skin-tight evening gown. Turquoise, I believe, isn't it? Aqua color?
Emerald green.
Gorgeous, gorgeous. And you left so early. Was it worth putting the gown on and the makeup just to go see 2 minutes?
Well, I got to meet you both. Are you kidding?
Yeah, there we go.
I basically went there to meet the two of you, to be honest with you.
Good.
If that's the truth, then I was just as thrilled as you were to meet you. I was all over you. I couldn't help it. I think you're so sweet and adorable.
And glamorous, and you're so glamorous, like old Hollywood. Ron really likes old Hollywood.
When she walked into that lobby, everybody else looked like shit. They looked like they were like gardening, or maybe digging ditches, or maybe they slept in their clothes for a week and didn't shower or shave or comb their hair. And
I got dressed at the Goodwill. I did. I got it from I did. I swear, I got it from the Goodwill. That's where I buy. It's my favorite franchise. So. People say, "No, you didn't. No, you didn't." And I say, "Yes, I did." And I show them the price tag. I always leave the price tag on because nobody ever believes that I shop at the Goodwill or the Discovery Store or thrift shops.
Well, they're vintage clothes, and if the gown you had on was vintage, it was wonderful, because when you walked in there, it was Hollywood. And I felt like I was in Hollywood, not in in Toys R Us or something. I don't know. What the fuck do I know?
I think, too, though, it's very cool.
No, what's it? Walmart. That's the one I was looking for. Walmart or Kmart.
Walmart.
I want to go do a little overview, a little bit of your career, because right now at this point in your career, you've been doing a lot of kind of horror type films and everything, but you have actually done everything. You have such a wide variety of work that you've done. You were the star of Hundra. That was kind of back in the day where they had it's like Conan the Barbarian, but the female version of Conan the Barbarian type thing. And then you made...
it was the dawn of women's civilization. It was the dawn of women's civilization, and my character was the protagonist, obviously. And it was written by a man, and most people think it was written by a woman, but it was written by a man, and it was directed by a man. So I did all the stunts in the movie except one, and it was one of the greatest experiences of my life, because I was able to go to Spain. Have you ever been to Spain?
I have, yes.
I have also. I love Spain.
I went there
Where-
for the Olympics.
Oh, that must have been so incredible.
Yeah, it was fun.
I went there in 1959 when I was 19, and they were still recuperating from the war.
My parents took me when I was little, and then as an adult, I went during the Olympics.
I loved Spain. I did.
Oh my God, I have a story about Spain. Actually, I have a story about Spain.
I've got a lot of stories, but I can't.
When I
tell
was a
them.
little kid, we went to Spain. When I was
You
a little
keep freezing. You keep freezing.
There you go. You're moving.
Are you cold?
I think that's you who froze, not us.
You freeze.
Oh. No,
Okay.
you keep freezing too.
Okay. Well, when I was little, my parents took me to Spain, and in the middle of the night, like 2 o'clock in the morning, we heard this big crashy like kind of sound, and it woke everybody up in the hotel. And everybody ran to the balcony to look outside the hotel, and it was like a sheep herder herding the sheep, and they all had these big cowbells on them, and it was all the cowbells making the noise, and it woke everybody up. It was one of those things you never forget.
I was 19, and at 19, I must tell you, I was breathtakingly beautiful. Not handsome, beautiful boy. Skinny. Tall, skinny with long black hair. And I went to a little casino club, and I met this very, very handsome man, beautiful man, who turned out to be a matador. Could you believe it?
I was going to say, was he a bull? I swear I was going to say, was he a bullfighter?
He wasn't a famous matador, but he was a matador. And they have incredible bodies because I don't know why they stay so tight so the bull doesn't kill them. But
yeah, I went to one when I was there filming Hundra. I went to one bullfight, but I couldn't stay because it was just too brutal what they do to the animals. I believe in Portugal they do not kill the bulls.
No, they don't. They don't. But this bullfighter and the bull had a lot in common.
What, they had big balls?
So then, it's because you're in like all these cult class. He's kissing you. You're in all these like cult classic films, and It's Alive 3, Maniac Cop. Those are all like kind of like Airplane 2. Those are all like cult classic films. But then I didn't know you were in this film before. But you were in a movie, Wicked Stepmother.
Yes, I was.
And that starred Bette Davis.
Yes, it was her last film, and oddly enough, I was able to work with her to see if I was right for one of the parts, which had already been cast. But the director wanted me to interact and to basically rehearse with Bette Davis. And she was incredibly frail at the time, and it felt like I was hugging a skeleton, and she couldn't even get the words out of her mouth because she was having dental problems at the time. But I consider that one of the greatest honors in my life to be able, in the film industry, to be able to rehearse with Bette Davis. And when I left, she said to the actress, "That girl was fantastic." So what a compliment coming from Bette Davis.
Which it also had Evelyn Keyes, Lionel Stander. Do you know who Lionel Stander is?
No, but
these are like older.
Evelyn Keyes.
Yeah.
And Tom Bosley. I mean, it had a lot of big stars in
Tom
it.
Bosley, I knew from the set of the Three Girls. What was it?
Charlie's Angels.
Charlie's Angels. Tommy used to work there. But I knew Bette well, and Bette was not happy with the end of her life. We used to talk about it, and she was not happy with it. And she also feels, as I feel, that age, you pay your dues. She said, living long, you pay dues. She said, those that die young get away with it. And I know what she's talking about because I'm 78, and my God, I have aches and pains, and I can't remember lines, and I'm tired all the time. And it really stumps her. I mean, she did have a difficulty. She hated that film. She hated all the old films. She hated Baby Jane. She hated when
I
she
love
wasn't.
Baby Jane.
No, she said she was.
Love Baby Jane. Robert Aldrich directed it, who directed me in All the Marbles, the wrestling movie I starred in with Peter Falk. Did you ever hear of All the Marbles, the California Dolls?
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. Robert Aldrich directed that movie, and he directed Whatever Happened to Baby Jane, and I absolutely love that movie.
Yeah, but Bette Davis wanted She said, "I'm no longer Betty Davis." She said, "I got $65,000 for it, and that was it." She needed the money, but she didn't like no longer being Betty Davis. Now, I was at a screening with her at the Bing Theater in L.A. one night, and they played Now Voyager. And if I could tell you, Betty looked at herself. And afterward, we had the after party. She said, I always thought I was an ugly-looking woman. She said, my God, I look back now, was I beautiful? So age taught her that youth is beauty. But she was a lovely lady. She was a very sweet lady, tough broad, dirty mouth, knock 'em back drinker, tough New England chick. You know that if you saw her offset. I mean,
and she chain smoker. She had,
chain smoker.
When they were shooting The Wicked Stepmother, she had cigarettes everywhere in the house that they were filming. Everywhere you could imagine, she had cigarettes, so she could pick up a cigarette anytime she wanted. So that was one of her demises. She died of cancer, and
breast cancer is what she died.
Yeah. Yes.
But she smoked because it was her, she used to call it a handle. Because I asked her that one time. I said, why do you smoke so much? She said, Ron, it's my handle. In other words, she hung on to the cigarette, and that cigarette gave her whatever she needed. So I've heard people refer to cigarettes as their handle. It's a weird expression, but I can understand it's their handle. When they put it in their mouth and they draw on it, it sort of gives them a whatever. Did you ever smoke?
Yes.
You don't smoke anymore.
Sometimes. Yes, I do.
Why?
Why not?
Why? Because it stinks. What guy? What guy wants to?
I do, not often, but sometimes I do when I get very anxious, when I'm depressed. I don't know. Occasionally I do, not every day at all. But I'm not going to lie to you. I'm going to be I'm authentic with you, which is one of the most important words in the English language to me, is authenticity. Faith is number one.
That's me. I'm honest. I never bullshit on this show. Anything I say is the truth. That's what I feel.
No, you don't. That's what I love about you. I love about you so much. You're a man who says the words he feels, and not the words of a man who kneels. You just tell it like it is, and you don't give a crap. And I say that.
Because it's never anything bad. It's only good stuff that comes out of my mouth. My opinion, like don't smoke. Like what guy's going to make out with you with cigarette breath? Gross.
My dog doesn't care.
Yeah, but what about listen, if I was straight and I saw you, for sure I want to make love to you. There's no question about that. And the minute I started kissing you, if you had a nicotine breath, I'd say, go brush your teeth. You're disgusting.
I never smoke when I go out. Never. I never smoke when I leave the house.
Good,
Never.
Good. Never smoke. I really love you, and don't smoke anymore. It's not good for you.
Okay.
Period. End of conversation.
Marijuana. I don't smoke marijuana at all, but it's legal. Do you smoke marijuana?
No, I just eat gummy bears.
You eat gummy bears.
No, the gummy bears.
No, he does the marijuana edibles.
They're marijuana edibles.
No, what, the gummy bears?
Yeah.
They have a little bit of marijuana in it, and if you eat the ear...
It's the same thing as smoking, but you don't have to smoke it. He doesn't smoke it.
I do it because I'm the start of arthritis in my hands and feet. So if I do a little bit of pot, the pain goes away. And,
Does it really go away? Does it really go away?
Yeah.
Well, next time I see you, I'll bring a gummy bear.
He either does that, or if he doesn't do that, he rubs the CBD oil on his wherever he's got arthritis, like on his fingers. He writes it on his fingers, and then he goes away.
I'm telling you that oil without the high in it, they take the whatever.
They take this.
Works. It's getting rid of tumors in people. It's really the pot itself without the high is a wonderful medicine, and everybody out there should try it. It does work. You take 12 or 13 drops in the morning and at night, and all day long you don't have pain in your arthritic fingers. Yeah.
Huh. I know they give it to women that have laxative abuse, or that are they won't eat. They give it to women, to women that won't eat anymore.
Anorexic. I take it because Jimmy. I take it because Jimmy beats me. So he's always beating. Oh, he does. He pulled a gun
And you
on
love
me.
it. You know you love it.
No, one time he pulled a knife on my throat. He was going to stab me. Then one time he tried.
He's full of shit.
No, he got the car. He tried to pin me between the garage door and the front end of the Jeep. You know. So I have to take marijuana to survive.
Yeah, right. You better tell people you're joking because they might think you're serious. Some people might be tuning in for the first time.
Oh, I'm only
I
joking.
know he's joking.
Oh, come
I
on.
know
What are
he's-
if they think it's real, don't come in. I'll show you stupid.
Yeah, go somewhere else.
Yeah, go where the dummies talk.
Yeah.
This
Exactly.
is Swift talking. But seriously, Sweet Lips, when am I going to see you again?
When do you guys come back to LA?
All the time. Maybe we're going to drag you to one of our red carpets. You want to go with us?
I would love to go.
We'll sit there, suffer together.
Yeah.
What's our next red carpet?
Hanukkah. Maybe we can get her to go to Hanukkah with us.
You got to go see Hanukkah. It's the first Jewish killer thing where the rabbi is the killer. And our very good friend and Jimmy's client, Caroline Williams, is naked in a bathtub of blood, taking a mitzvah in a blood bath. The film is supposed to be out fucking rageous. I cannot wait to.
No, it's a horror movie.
It's a horror movie. No, but it's a sick.
It's in a comedy.
No, it's a sicko one. It's one of these. This film is going to make a big dent in the. This film is. Everybody's going to see this film. It's really way out weird.
What's it called?
It's called Hanukkah.
Aren't you Jewish?
Hanukkah?
Yeah.
Aren't you Jewish?
I think December 1st is going to be the red carpet.
Oh, I thought you were Jewish. All right. Yeah, it's called Hanukkah.
Catholic.
Well, we're going to drag your beautiful ass to the premiere. Wear one of your gowns, go sexy and gorgeous, because I'll dress up too.
I hope so.
No, it'll be fun. I think it's going to be on December 1st.
Okay.
I think at the same place they did Betrayed, actually, I think is where they're doing it.
Right,
and
the Chinese Grauman Theater.
And we're going, and Churchill's going to be going with us, and Sadie Katz is going to go with us.
Everybody.
I love Churchill. He's a wonderful actor, you know. He directed me in Nation's Fire. Have you heard of that movie, Nation's Fire?
Absolutely. You play Bruce Dern's wife, right?
Yes, I do play his wife, and you're not going to believe this, but Thomas Churchill trusted me enough, trusted my organic acting and my insanity enough that he gave Bruce Dern direction and me myself direction, and he said, "Go improvise." So because I love to improvise, oh my God!
I'm in 3 of Churchill's films coming up. The next
Which
film.
one?
Well,
Two.
I'm in the big fucking rat, and then what's the other one?
Amityville.
I'm in Amityville and the big fucking rat.
2
films, but I'm in 2 other films, not Churchill's. But Churchill came to the set where I was working, and I was playing a minister. And Churchill was so impressed because there they had me against a crucifix, gigantic crucifix, and the camera was like on the floor shooting up. So they gave that whole, dramatic priest, whatever look. And Churchill said,
"Yeah,
wait, very interesting, Ron." He said, "Maybe we'd make a good movie, A Killer Priest." So I think Churchill's going to write a movie, and I'm going to play the killer priest in it. Who chops
he will. He will. Churchill will.
He was so impressed with what I look like. I said I look like Count Dracula.
I can't wait.
Because we pulled my hair straight back, slicked it back, and in that, I looked like scary shit.
I can't wait for
Huh?
Did you wear a wig? Did you wear a wig?
No. It's not a big part, but an important
No,
part.
she said, "Did you wear a wig?"
No, what a wig. With this mop of hair, I just slicked it back. No, my hair.
I can't wait to see it. I want to know when it comes out.
We're not allowed to speak about it, which I don't get. We're not allowed to give the title or talk anything about it. So I don't understand that. Usually they always did pre-press. Nowadays they don't.
They don't have a poster for it yet or
that
anything.
You know what that is?
What?
You know why that is?
Why?
Because all the big outlets. This is what Joe Williamson told me. All the big outlets and other people as well in publicity, that all the big outlets want the scoop. And if you do a bunch of interviews and just talk about it randomly, then it's not going to be a shock. It's not going to be something that is going to be heard for the first time. So everybody wants the first dibs. All the big agent outlets want the scoop on a project. That's what happened with Nation's Fire. When we were filming it, we were not allowed to say anything. We weren't allowed to talk about it. We weren't allowed to admit we were in the film. And I didn't understand why, I did not ask why, but I found out later it's because all the big outlets finally got the scoop on it, like Variety and I believe the Hollywood Reporter. So that's the reason for that.
So when is Nation's Fire coming out? Do you know?
It already came out. It's gone.
No, it didn't come out.
It didn't come out.
You mean when is it coming out, or when is it going to escape?
Yeah, well,
when
will it be available for people to see it?
When can we see it?
I believe it's coming out in February.
Okay.
All right, let us know. Invite us to the red carpet.
And you know who's in it is Gil Bellows and Bruce Dern and Krista Grata, who's one of the most beautiful women. Have you heard of Krista Grata or seen her?
I know her really well. I did a lot of stuff when Churchill did Emerging Past, and so I was around for all of that. So I've met her.
I'd love to work with you. We would have a ball if we worked together.
Of course.
I don't know if we get anything done. They'd probably fire us and throw us off the lot, but we would have a good time laughing and carrying on.
Hey, we'd make the news. That's all that we care about, right?
That's right.
Right, for that big salary they give us.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That salary that I'm going to buy a chateau in Paris now.
Also, too, doesn't Wyatt Walter play like your son or something?
Yes, he does. He plays my son, and I play this alcoholic, tortured, tormented, psychotic wife of Bruce Dern's, and he's leaving me because he can't take it anymore, and I cannot take his sobriety. It's a fabulous part that I play in that. So I'm very grateful to Thomas Churchill because he gave me a chance, and he believed in me, and he said, "You can do this." And I know you're insane. I know you're crazy. I know you're out of your mind. And he just let me go, and he let me improvise. So.
He tells me the same thing.
I think it's fantastic.
Jimmy knows Churchill for 20 years.
Yeah, I've known Churchill for like a really long time.
Churchill, I think, is wonderful. And he's a dear friend of ours, even if we don't work for him. He's still my friend. I'm not his friend just to get a part in his stupid movies. I mean, really, give me a break. His movies aren't stupid. They're good movies, actually.
So I think that Wyatt Walter is probably going to be like one of the next big young kid stars.
I think so, too. He was magnificent in the film. And you know the story, right?
The story of what? Of Wyatt Walter?
No, the story of Nation's Fire.
I don't really know what the story is. I read just what I've read on IMDb because there's no press coming out for that yet until it's releasing.
Are you allowed to talk about it?
Well, it's about a Marine who has to help a woman who's Krista Grata, who's seeking revenge for the death of her son. And that's basically what it's about. But there's a lot of great, great people in it. I'll tell you, I was so impressed who Thomas got to be in that movie. He must have screwed a lot of people.
So now you got got all kinds of great projects coming out. You've worked with Betty Davis. You've worked with all these people. So who's on your bucket list? Who's on your bucket list of, oh my God, I'd really like to work with these, like maybe this male and this female that you haven't had a chance to work with yet?
I would love to work with James Cagney.
Oh, wow.
That would be tough.
That's okay. I didn't say they had to be alive or dead.
No, the person I want to work with is Tom Hardy. I am crazy.
Wow.
He is such a chameleon. I think he is a better actor than Marlon Brando, who I knew very, very well. As a matter of fact, I just got kicked off of jury duty last week. I was on jury duty for 2 days, and then the judge, it was a murder trial, and the murderer was in the courtroom, and it was for murder and attempted murder, and they picked me to be juror number 5, and I still have the badge with me here somewhere. But anyway, I was on the jury for about 2.5 days, but then the judge asked if any of us had been in a murder trial before, and I raised my hand and I said, yes, I was in the Christian Brando murder trial. I was his fiancée. And then they asked me.
Wait a minute, hold it. You were his fiancée?
Yes, I was, for many years.
Did you know that my nephew's mother was married to him? Mary Brandon.
Mary Brando, yes. She was married to him. I came after Mary.
Oh, okay, because Anthony is her son and he's my nephew.
I did not know that.
Yeah, Mary Brandon. She was married to Marlon's son, not Marlon
Christian.
Brando. To Christian,
Yeah.
right? And what, the sister got killed or something? What was the deal? I forgot what the story was.
It happened May 16, 1990 at my house, as a matter of fact. A Christian had gone to have dinner with his sister up the street at Musso and Frank's, yeah? And he came home and he was drunk out of his mind. And he said that his sister was being beaten by this guy, Dag Grolet, her fiance. And so he was going up to Marlon's house. And my mother was in the house with me. We were in the kitchen, and Christian was just out of his mind, drunk, and he was so outrageously furious that Cheyenne was being beaten because she was 8 months pregnant. So I ran downstairs with Christian at the time to check on Cheyenne because she was in the truck with him, yeah? So she seemed okay to me. She just kept saying, I'm so cold, I'm so cold. Excuse me. So I ran upstairs and I went and got her a jacket to put over her to keep her warm. And then Christian never came home that night. And the next morning, his best friend, Bill Cable, called me and he said, are you standing up? And I said, where's Christian? He didn't come home. And he said, sit down. And I said, I am sitting down. And he said, Christian Brando is in jail for murder.
Woo!
And Bill Cable said, I thought it was you that was murdered. I thought he killed you.
Wow.
I'm glad he didn't kill you. I'm sorry he killed the other one. But yeah, Mary told us that story years ago. Actually, it's my great nephew is her son Anthony. My nephew was Billy Schurz, and Billy and Mary were married and had Anthony.
Right.
So,
what a small world, though. How is it that we would that would come up? I mean, unbelievable.
Well, it's 6 degrees of separation.
Separation, yeah.
You have really led a fascinating life. You and Ron both have led really fascinating lives with interacting with such wonderful, cool people. You know, lots of highs, lots of lows. But I mean, you've really, really, really
You know
had
why?
an accomplished
Because
life.
her personality and my personality are the same. We are dipsy at times. We're very smart at times. And we are very pleasurable. And people like us. They're not afraid of us. We don't intimidate people. Yet we look good. And people like to be around beautiful and handsome people. They like that. And we don't make them feel like they're ugly.
I would never do that anyway. I'm from Canada. We don't work that way.
No, you're just a sweetie pie. You're just like a wind-up, not a wind-up, like a Barbie doll. You want to put you on a shelf and look at you and smile all day. You're just a sweetie girl. I mean, really and truly.
We've got 1 minute. So everybody listen, this is Laurene Landon. You can follow her on Twitter. It's at Laurene Landon, Laurene Landon. She does her own tweets. She's fabulous. Do you have a fan page on Facebook?
Please don't go to me on Facebook because I have 5,000 followers and 5,000 people that want to be friends. So please only follow me now I'm brand new at Instagram, but I do respond to people on Instagram, so please follow me there. And I do respond to people there, but and also on Twitter. I'd also like to talk about this movie that I have coming up that I'm filming.
You gotta hurry. We got like a minute.
Okay, it's by Chuck France and it's called Sorrow's Way, and Ben Lawson wrote the movie, and it's about a former musician woman, me, who embarks on this journey to confront her estranged daughter that I received very bad news about my life. I end up in the hospital.
Laurene, we're going to bring you back. When are you shooting it?
Sometime early February.
All right.
When you're ready for that, we'll bring
you
it
back
out and promote the actual
and then
film.
you're gonna promote the film. Maybe you'll give us a trailer, and we'll push in the bush for you.
Oh, it's one of the greatest roles I've ever played. And Chuck France, the cinematographer, can make a movie, and you don't even have to have any dialogue. That's how gifted the cinematographer is. But the writer, Ben Lawson,
hold on. So everybody, this is Laurene Landon. I'm sorry, Laurene, we got to go because we went
We'll
2
have
minutes
you
over.
back.
We'll have you back. We
For
love you.
sure.
Everybody
We love
follow
you.
Laurene Landon.
Yes.
Check out her on IMDb and watch all her films. We love you and we'll see you soon.
Kisses.
I'll let you know about Hanukkah. Bye. Bye, everybody.
We'll see you December 1st.
Yes.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye, beautiful one.
See everybody. Thanks so much for tuning in, everybody. Chat room, Illy, Hannah, B. Claudie, Dave, Eileen, everybody in the chat room. Thanks so much, and we'll see you guys next week. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Always love the clothes of Jimmy.
Bitch, I'm your wanna be. Jimmy Star's new celebrity.
We'll take you out to Jimmy Star's. He'll dress you right. You'll feel like a star. We'll hook you up. Now you look sexy. Your game is tight. Gonna get laid tonight. You need Jimmy Star. Jimmy Star. You need Jimmy Star. Jimmy Star.
One day I was walking down the street. My mate come up to me and said, "Hey mate, wanna go to a